Have you ever looked out your window and just wished for a little more life, maybe a little more color out there? Well, today, we're going to do just that. We're going to transform that view, turning your ordinary backyard into this vibrant, bustling haven for birds. All right, let's dive into how you can become a backyard birding pro, and it all starts with just a single moment of curiosity. This is exactly where it begins for so many of us. It's not some grand, complicated plan. It's just one single moment. A flash of red against the green grass. Maybe a cheerful song that just cuts through the morning quiet. It's that one little spark that makes you lean in and look just a little bit closer. That's the hook. And honestly, it's all you really need. So the big question is, how do you turn that spark into a flame? Well, that's what this entire guide is all about. We're going to walk through a super simple, step-by-step plan to not only transform your space, but to transform your perspective. You'll become the person with the most interesting backyard on the block. I promise. Okay, now this is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but the most important first step is to do absolutely nothing. Seriously, just watch. Where do the birds already hang out in your yard? Do they have a favorite branch? Is there a sunny spot on the lawn they always seem to land on? This simple observation, it's like your own personal treasure map. It tells you exactly where to put your feeders and baths for immediate success. All right, so once you've scouted out your prime real estate, it's time to build the foundation of your new bird sanctuary. And it really all boils down to two simple, absolutely critical things: food and water. We're going to break this down into three easy pillars. First, getting the right equipment, the feeder itself. Second, you got to stock it with the five-star cuisine that birds are actually craving. And third, adding the one thing that, believe it or not, might be even more attractive to them than food: a clean source of water. Okay, so let's look at this little cheat sheet here, because it makes things so much easier. If you're hoping to see those brilliant little bursts of yellow, the goldfinches, then a tube feeder with Niger seed is totally non-negotiable. For a fantastic all-purpose option, a hopper feeder with a good mixed seed, that's going to bring in the crowd pleasers like cardinals and chickadees. And if you want to see the acrobats, the woodpeckers and nuthedges, then a suet cage is an absolute must-have. So what do you put in these things? Well, black oil sunflower seed is the undisputed champion. It's got a thin shell, it's high in oil, almost every bird loves it. Niger seed is basically like a magnet for finches. And here's a fantastic pro tip for you: safflower seed. Cardinals love it, but guess who doesn't? Squirrels. Most of them find it bitter and will just leave it alone. The most important thing here, though, is to avoid those cheap seed mixes full of filler grains. Birds will just kick it all to the ground. You're not really saving money, you're just making a huge mess. Now here's something that might surprise you. While we tend to obsess over getting the perfect food, a simple, reliable source of water can attract an even wider variety of birds. We're talking about birds that don't even eat seeds, like warblers and robins. See, they need water for drinking, of course, but also for bathing, to keep their feathers in perfect flight-ready condition. It is a total game changer. And get this, it's so incredibly simple. You don't need some elaborate fountain or a deep pond. The ideal depth for a bird bath is just 1 to 2 inches deep. That's it. That shallow depth is so important because it allows the little songbirds to feel safe while they drink and splash around. It's such a tiny detail, but it makes a massive difference in how many birds will actually come and use it. Okay, so once you've set the stage, this is where the real magic begins. This is when you graduate from just attracting birds to actually, getting to know them. You start to notice their habits, their funny little interactions, and their surprisingly distinct personalities. And they absolutely have personalities. Just take the chickadee. They're so tiny, but they have this fearless, inquisitive energy. You'll see them just zip in, grab one single seed with surgical precision, and then fly off to a private branch to eat it. They are just endlessly curious and, frankly, hilarious to watch. And then you've got the blue jay. These guys are the Einsteins of the backyard, and also the entire drama club. They can solve puzzles, they mimic other birds, and sometimes they'll arrive like a whole squadron and just clear out the entire feeder. Watching these completely different personalities try to navigate the same space, that's what makes this so incredibly captivating. Now, to get a better look, you only need a few simple things. A decent pair of binoculars, something like an 8x42, brings all the action right up close. A simple notebook helps you remember who you saw and when, and modern apps like Merlin Bird ID from Cornell are, They're incredible. They can identify a bird from a photo or, and this is amazing, even just by listening to its song through your phone's microphone. So let's take this to the next level. A feeder is a great start. It really is. But to create a true sanctuary, you've got to think beyond just being a restaurant. The real goal is to build a complete, living habitat that provides food, water, and, this is the crucial part, shelter, all naturally.
This right here, this slide is so important. Choosing native plants is the single most impactful thing you can do for your local birds. Native plants provide the right kinds of insects, berries, and shelter that birds have evolved to rely on. On the other hand, for a bird, a yard full of pretty, non-native ornamental plants isn't just a different menu, it's basically a food desert.
A great habitat also adapts to what's going on. Your strategy should actually change with the seasons. In the winter, birds desperately need high-energy fats, like suet, just to survive the cold. In spring and summer, nesting birds need huge amounts of protein, things like mealworms, to feed their babies. And then in the fall, they need those high-fat foods all over again to fuel up for their incredible migration journeys.
And, this isn't just a nice thing to do. It has a real scientifically proven impact. Studies have shown that birds with access to reliable food sources during those tough winter months are healthier. They lay their eggs earlier, and they have more successful nests the following spring. What you do in your backyard truly, truly matters. So as we bring all this together, it's really important to see this not as some big chore list, but as the beginning of a lifelong adventure. It's this ongoing process of learning, of observing, and of connecting with the wild, beautiful world that exists right outside your window. And the key to that whole adventure is just simple, consistent care. A weekly cleaning of your feeders and your bird baths is so important. It prevents the spread of disease and keeps your visitors healthy. It's just a small commitment that makes sure your backyard haven remains a safe and vibrant place for them to be.
And that's the real beauty of it all. It starts with that first curious glance, maybe that one single feeder. But pretty soon, you're recognizing individual birds, you're planting native shrubs just for them, and you're eagerly waiting for the migratory species to come back each and every spring. It's a hobby that just grows and grows right along with you.
So when you boil it all down, the crucial point is this. The birds, the life, all that magic, it has always been there just outside your door. The only thing that needs to change is your focus. All it takes is that first step to look, to listen, and to truly see them. So the real question is, are you ready?